I'm Ish D. I'm a 2013 graduate of MediaTech. I'm a music producer and DJ. I grew up in a tiny West Texas town, and music has just always been around in my household. My parents always playing records, my dad playing early hip hop stuff, my mom playing the early R&B stuff. My first introduction to music was very much out of curiosity. I was trying to figure out how they made the music. Growing up in West Texas, I think there was one music store, but it was like very traditional, so it was like, you know, school band instruments and guitars and things like that. So there wasn't really a place to buy the stuff necessary. So, you know, my mom always told me, use the things that you have at your disposal. PlayStation used to have this game, Music Maker Pro, I'm pretty sure it was called, and you could basically go through and program like beats in it and music. I had that and was up for countless hours like trying to figure it out. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, this is decent, but how do I get it outside of the PlayStation? That's what kind of led me to finding out my path of what I needed to do next. It was my senior year in high school, and I was letting my dad know, like, hey, this is what I want to do. I went to Collin County. They have a audio engineering program there. They didn't have all the state-of-the-art equipment that they had here. So what I did was, once I completed that program, I came here like 2012, 2013 or so. A lot of it for me was trying to get my hands on as much tangible equipment as possible, because during that time, it's when everything was making the transition to the computer. So I was like, okay, I understand these plugins, but I'd like to know how the real thing worked. Because like, as most producers know, you have to have some type of engineering capabilities in order to keep up with what's going on. Finding work after school it can be challenging for sure. There's lots of times as creatives we can kind of get in our heads and nothing seems like it's working. And it's just a matter of maintaining your happiness and figuring out what works for you. Because, you know, we all have different goals, we all have different things we like, and figuring out where that path leads you and looking beyond this moment is pretty crucial. Things started picking up for me, I'd say, about a year ago or so. Since graduating, I got to work on a few different big names. I've got to work with Lil Wayne on his Carter 4 album, LA, with a few records that are just kind of out. And Snow the Product, we have a pretty cool record called I. I got to work on the Birds of Prey movie that's coming out in February, and the Trolls 2 movie that's coming out in May. So lots of film and TV stuff. I made it work by grind. Like, I just kept trying to knock on doors. It goes back to the relationships. The relationships are very key. Knowing who's working on what, who's needing production on this, or whose engineer is missing this week and I can fill in a void, and, you know, just really maintaining the relationships and staying in contact with the people. Working on these big projects can be a little intimidating sometimes. It's good coming to a school like MediaTech because they're very good about getting you quick, having you work on these projects quick. You know, there's times like on the Trolls 2 movie, I get the briefing, they're looking for X, Y, and Z kind of music, and being able to turn that around in less than 12 hours is something I feel like MediaTech is good at getting you prepared for. Yeah, for me, it's strange because it still doesn't feel real. Like, I was at the theater to see Frozen, and then the preview came up and I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, and sometimes for me, I forget that I've even worked on those things, because it's just, you get so wrapped up in the work and like, okay, I've done this, time to move on to the next thing, time to move on to the next thing. And then it kind of comes back full circle. And like, it's good to sometimes stand and smell the roses, but yeah, it's very surreal sometimes.